Hello everybody, welcome. What an exciting day. This is actually a rather big patch. Big patch from Turtle Rock Studios, free update for October. Bunch of balance changes, new features, as well as some, Halloween festivities and what have you. Before we get into this patch, two things. One, check the timestamps. I'll do my best to timestamp the whole video out. This is going to be a long video, I think. Timestamp it out so that you can sort of jump around to the information that seems most interesting to you. Secondly, in the past, Turtle Rock has not been the most accurate with their patch notes. Why? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes things in the patch notes say they got changed. When you go into the game, though, they have not been changed. And the vice versa. Things have been changed, but they're not mentioned anywhere in the patch notes. So I just want to preface that there's typically every single patch up until this point has had some amount of inconsistency in that regard. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that I'll be reading through the patch notes as is, but over time and gameplay and things like that, we tend to discover some stuff that is not entirely accurate. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as we're going through this. So if there's anything at all that you've noticed or experienced yourself that's different, feel free to put it in the comments. More knowledge means more power, and we all want to be more powerful, am I right? Okay, free update for October. New surprises, probably the inaccurate patch notes and things like that. Halloween festival, blah, blah, blah. Seasonal caravans, exclusive Halloween cleaner and weapon skins. Matchmaking for no hope difficulty has been enabled, blah, blah, blah. Other stuff here. New changes to existing cards. This is the nice little summary right here. Nice little summary, sort of just in general. So, no hope difficulty matchmaking is now enabled and accessible in the campaign and QUICKPLAY menus. Team up with other hardcore cleaners and make new friends. Probably not. Probably. Is this where everyone's going to be using a microphone finally? Heck. This Horde Indicator UI. This is interesting. There's a new icon that will display on your HUD important information when a horde is occurring. It will show the following: a regular horde and how long it will last. We have a little timer now when it happens. A timed horde, where the timer gets filled up and indicating when a horde will take place. I don't know what this means. Don't they already have a horde timer that's counting down? They're going to switch it to like a bar that builds up? I don't understand. An infinite horde indicator that pulses until the end of a game or until an event that turns it off. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a nice distinction. But for the most part, infinite horde events are clearly and obviously like, I guess like for people who are playing through like Pain Train for the very first time, you don't realize it's an infinite horde event, especially because it's not infinite across all difficulties. I don't know if it is now, but originally, like if you played recruit mode, some of the infinite horde events weren't infinite, and so if you ramped up to the next difficulty, things would change. And that was big. That was actually a big part of why jumping from difficulty to difficulty in the early release of Back for Blood was like such a pain in the butt for the less experienced players, because things would, like, circumstances would change and there's like no indicator of why. Like sleepers causing horde events in higher difficulties but not causing horde events in lower, so it was just like confusing to people. A horde waypoint showing where the source of the horde is. The source of it. Is this indicating that typically the game is spawning things like 360 around you? There's typically a range limit that the game is allowed to spawn things, as far as like how close they can spawn to you. And in past updates, they did like, oh, we pushed back the meters that a mutation can spawn next to you. It was literally like 3 meters before, so like things would spawn like around the corner right next to you. It pushed it back a little bit. This almost makes it feel like there's like a horde event coming from a single location. In Left 4 Dead, it was pretty common for the entirety of a horde to come out of like 1 or 2 different spawn locations at a time. There's probably videos of people like one-shotting an entire horde event, because like with a sniper rifle, because it's got infinite piercing. Just because the horde event came out of a single door in front of them, stuff like that, right? I don't know what this means entirely. In addition to that, a timed horde waypoint that displays when the trigger point of the horde is time-based. I don't know what that means either. Does anyone know what this means? A timed horde waypoint that displays when the trigger point of the horde is time-based. I don't understand. This is going to be that, like, more things in the map are going to indicate, like, hey, if you walk past this event, you will get a timed horde event. Like on Blazing Trails, where, like, on Blazing Trails, there's a point when you start entering into the recreation area, the park area that's on fire. You pass a certain checkpoint, a timed horde event will show up for burning zombie timed horde. It doesn't go away until you pass the bridge right outside of the parking lot of the infested pool. Is it, I talking about this? Like, there will be an indicator on our HUD saying, like, hey, if you walk past this line, there'll be zombies. Anyways, I don't know what this means exactly. So they teased 6 new cards. 5 of them are legendary cards. And then they said 1 fortune card. I don't know what this is. I have to admit, guys, I haven't fired Back for Blood up yet. I've read, like, the briefest. I read this and I went, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's make the video. So we're here. 5 new legendary intel cards. I think there was a picture in the Swing Point video where he showed like a creepy Halloween intel box. I'm assuming that's part of it. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing or if it's a seasonal thing for October for Halloween. We'll find out. And 1 new fortune card. I don't know if that means there's literally a new card in the fortune category that we can unlock, because that's one of the card types as how they're categorized. I think at the end of this video, we'll fire it Back for Blood and see what it looks like, right? Halloween event in Fort Hope. No tricks, only treats in Fort Hope this Halloween. Yeah, I can't imagine Commander Man's in the tricks. I can't remember his name for the life of me. Get yourself something sweet from seasonal supply lines. Turn up the spooky tunes. Oh, and then warm up near the cauldron as the nights grow colder. I will not be turning on the spooky tunes when we launch up the game, because I don't trust Turtle Rock for DMCA. Seasonal caravans. These caravans will run throughout the month of October and part of November, so be sure to grab yourself an exclusive Halloween cleaner skin, weapon skin, blah, 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 blah. 4 more legendary items. I don't know what they are, but if they are throwables, weapons, we'll try to cover them. Things like that in maybe a video, depending what they are. Dan's revive abilities now function when using a defibrillator. Some nice changes here. In fact, a rework, actually a huge rework to HENG. Huge rework, and we'll check out what he looks like exactly now. But HENG now causes 10 extra food items to spawn. That feels like a lot. 10? That seems really good, actually. HENG receives the effects of food items picked up by other cleaners and double the effect if he picks it up himself. Now we're talking. HENG's supposed to be like a restaurant owner or something like that. Now he's truly a restaurant owner. HENG heals an additional 1 trauma when consuming food. HENG can no longer sense dungeon entrances because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. You can, like, hear the howl of the hive, like, across the map anyways. Like, and then the characters would all say, like, hey, do you hear that creepy noise? HENG can now sense food items. Cool. Team effect. Cleaners that pick up food gain 1 max H health and 1 max stamina until the end of the level. Kind of nice. Kind of neat. This makes... I'm curious, though. I'm assuming that HENG still drops loot out of his butthole when he takes damage. That's my assumption. That they didn't get rid of that? Maybe? I don't know. Again, at the end of the video, I'll launch up the game and we'll go through some of these changes on the game itself. In the game itself. Actually, we'll start firing up now. We'll have it in the background. Jim's primary weapon is now the Phoenix 350L. Great. Now Jim no longer has the worst gun in the game. But this is interesting right here. Jim's bonus has been changed to 25% reload speed from ADS speed. He just had a flat 25% ADS speed. Gone. Now it's reload speed. And the fact that he has a Phoenix, that's really, really nice, actually. Like, this reload speed is actually a huge buff to Jim. Huge buff to Jim. Huge. I would say that this reload speed is, like, comparable to, like, Walker's bonus damage just in general. Because this is going to be so nice. So nice for Jim. Jim is actually like one of the worst characters, one of the lower tiers. It is nice to have the extra damage and whatnot, and the buildup of damage that he gets from like, you know, headshots and stuff. But for the most part, it's just like he's not great. But the reload speed is actually quite nice. I think it's notable. Fixed an issue with stuff, blah blah blah. Abandoned campaign runs will now end if abandoned before they start. Didn't they already do that? I thought they already did that. Additional loot spawning locations in various campaign missions and ridden hives. This makes me think of food again, because in the hives, when you're inside one of the hives, and you have the Ravenous card, finding food would just felt impossible. And also too, when I played through some of the earlier campaigns with the food scavenger card, it really did feel like the maps were not designed to have food in them. You only really felt a significant effect of food scavenger when you play through Act 5. And so this is making me think that all the scavenger cards and stuff like that are probably going to be a little more balanced and more sort of worked out. Food scavenger will probably feel a little bit better on Acts 1 through 4, essentially. That's my take on it. But also, too, this might mean that at this point, we're all pretty used to where everything spawns, where to look, where to check. This might mean that there might be some new areas of maps that are typically empty that might have some loot in them now. Kind of cool, potentially. Kind of cool to potentially research some of the maps a little bit, right? NPC conversations now play while loading into a mission. So, like, we'll get dialogue while we're loading into the mission, I guess. I don't know. This seems neat. One thing that I've talked about it, and I talked about it specifically with Act 5, is like Act 5 has sort of the best of the story of Back 4 Blood in general, but even with the cutscenes and the attempt at story, there's really no plot here. There's like the teasing of a plot, but there's really nothing comes to fruition. There's no build up. There's no real like resolution. So I do appreciate the NPC conversations, of course, right? But for the most part, it's lacking substance. And so, I mean, if there's any possible way for them to start squeezing in more story into this game could be incredible. Like, there could have been a super sweet, awesome, cool story to this game, especially if you're going to take the time to make CGI cutscenes. But anyways, I digress. The Dark Before the Dawn, the Diner, changed the holdout duration to 240 seconds on all difficulties. I'm not going to do math. Okay, let's do some math. I'm not going to try and do math. It's late for me. 4 minutes. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I've said it every single time I play the Diner. I'm bored. I'm bored. When you play with people, they're just like pulling out barbed wire from their eyeballs. It's gross, and they're just like, hey, we need purple barbed wire for the Diner, and they like spend 5,000 copper on barbed wire, and then you just sit there and you do nothing. Right? When we play with the bots, most of the time it goes fine. Nothing goes wrong. So it's like, for the most part, the Diner is literally just you stand there and do nothing. And so seeing it reduced, I'm happy with that. On all difficulties, heck yeah. Because the Diner is one of the most boring missions, I think. Added waves of special ridden to the Hordes. Interesting. Kind of cool, right? And then look at this one. Added a boss spawn at the last minute of the holdout. Now we're talking. Yes, please. I am all for this. A bunch of nonsense. How boring this mission was. And now this mission might be high octane, butthole clenching excitement content. Right? I am all for this because I cannot emphasize how much I did not like this mission. I think I literally said it every single time I played it, how bored I was. And now we're going to be fighting for our life. With that being said, this might feel really stupid and overpowered and real dumb, but we'll see. Dr. Rogers' Neighborhood T5 lowered the crate count on no hope difficulty. Okay, a little nerf to T5. For a lot of you guys out there will appreciate that. I don't know if this applies to solo mode. In solo mode, you need to get 8 crates and no hope. I mean, we just did it, right? I don't know if they're going to lower it for both online and offline. So we'll see. Various collision adjustments made to the Ridden Hive maps. Ravenous has been removed from the Hive maps. That's quite nice. That was just a pain in the butt. Even in solo mode, there's like a lack of food in general. Added UI buff and debuff icons to several cards. Great. We always need more UI. I would also love to see more tooltips about whether or not cards stack. Like Safe Room Recovery still doesn't stack, but there's no indication that it shouldn't. right? Or like Bomb Squad, does it stack? We all assume it stacks, right? Updated duffel bags to prioritize granting normal cards before burn cards. Very cool. I love it. This is great. For all you out there who haven't unlocked all of the cards yet, this is cool. And again, this is going to help alleviate some of the skull totem grind, because once they change the duffel bags to be a little more friendly towards the new content, you ended up having to sort of ironically go back to getting skull totems again. This is cool. I like this a lot. Several improvised cards now play a sound effect when they are unusable. I don't know what that means. Several improvised cards now play a sound effect when they are unusable. What is an improvised card? What is that? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're moving on. Antibiotic Ointment. Increased temp health to 20. A little buff to that card. Belligerant. Belligerent. This might be timestamped because this is really important. Players now gain 4% damage per horde up to 6 stacks. So 24 damage. That's a pretty big damage buff. You might think that's technically a nerf, isn't it? No, 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 no. Stacks are now lost when any cleaner is down or killed, rather when the owner is damaged. So the fragile card type has been removed. And said somebody has to die or get downed for you to lose those stacks. Now, it's sort of bad that it can be anybody on your team. But for the most part, and especially in no hope solo, like in solo mode, where the bots are super beefy, if we have a bunch of extra damage for the majority of a mission, keeping our bots alive will be easier because we are able to eliminate mutations faster, things like that. So this is actually, I think, a significant buff to Belligerant. Very, very cool. I think in a competent team of players where people aren't really going down that often anyways, this will be one of the primary damage cards, I think, because it's not going down is just a skill thing most of the time, right? If you're skilled enough, your team is skilled enough, nobody will ever go down anyways, right? Crippling Frequency. Stacks no longer refresh at once. I don't know if this means the way Crippling Frequency worked before when we did the testing of it, and you can get it refreshed itself, or it refreshed all of the stacks on pushing the button. So if you had 6 stacks and it was like 1 second away from going away, from running out, but then you activated it again, all 6 stacks would refresh back to the full timer. My take on this is that the stacks no longer refresh all at once. Is that it's going to be more like ultrasonic wound therapy, where each stack of the buff is independent of each other. The same way that Berserker stacks work, right? But like in the zone stacks, they are all one stack, and getting a new stack refreshes the entire stack. Stack, stack, stack. Anyways, I think this is a nerf to Crippling Frequency, making it harder to get to maximum stacks, I think. I don't know exactly. But here's the wild thing. Double Grenade Pouch no longer reduces movement speed. Now, the movement speed, not a big deal. Not a big deal. But this is just a straight-up buff. It's a buff to one of the best cards in the game. The card that should literally be in every single player's deck, regardless of what your role you're playing. This card should be in your deck. And that's it. Like, that's literally it. And it got buffed. Cool. Food Scavenger now grants item sense. It's weird that I didn't to begin with, since all the other scavenger cards already had it, but now it does that. So technically a buff. Front Sight Focus also grants 15% recoil. And Front Sight Focus is the I can't remember. Front Sight Focus is the I updated. Front Sight Focus, right, is the accuracy card, right? Yeah. 15% recoil. Right there. Right there. Very nice. Very nice. We'll check this out. I need to get away from the characters because they'll talk in the background. But very spooky. Very spooky. Grenade Pouch. The other best card in the game. The second best card in the game. Outside of T5, right? Now reduces the cost of offensive accessories and vendors by 5%. This is a huge buff, I think. This is insane. This is an incredibly good buff. 5%. And really not a whole lot. But in the longer acts, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, where you're actively buying grenades pretty much every single mission, this is going to add up. This is going to add up. And really, I think if you're going to run extra grenade pouches, like I have already made the argument that you run double grenade pouch and grenade pouch, and now even more so, because like now we're able to sneak in a little bit of extra economy by running a card that we already run 100% of the time anyways. Like this is actually I don't even understand why they're buffing this card. It doesn't even make sense. Now this card gives you grenade pouch, an extra grenade slot, 25% swap speed, which is really nice for getting to your grenade and then back to your gun. And also it makes it 5% cheaper. Super sweet. High-vis sights, I think this was the aim speed card, I believe, right? The card that no one ever used. I don't think everyone's ever used this card before. Now gives 15% movement speed while aiming, 15% movement speed while firing. Pretty nonsense, right? Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We'll double check what high-vis is. Hey. Right, yeah, it's the aim speed card. Not a big deal. So, it's sort of strange up until this point. They've buffed the cards that don't need buffs. And then they're buffing cards that do need buffs, but the buffs aren't significant enough to make you want to change to using them. Right? They've buffed the cards that we use 100% of the time. And the cards that we use 0% of the time, they also got buffed, but we're going to continue to not use them ever. Ignore the Pain now skills with healing efficiency. That is one of the melee cards. I think that's like punch a mutation in the face to recover health, right? Isn't that what it is? Yeah. Melee mutations heals you for health. Makes sense that it goes off of healing efficiency, but I mean, investing into melee to the point that you are punching mutations on purpose takes so many cards. It only works in a coordinated team setting, I think. Medical Professional now scales with healing efficiency. Isn't Medical Professional just trauma recovery? Let's do Professional. So it's just trauma. Is this the first, like, the trauma heal is going to go up with healing efficiency? Because funny enough, I think somewhere else in these patch notes, they will talk about Medical Professional being nerfed because it's not here. It used to be 15 trauma, now it's 10 trauma, and we'll see that somewhere else. I guess the trauma recovery now scales. We'll have to test it out. The Nurse Purse item now works with this card as well, which is like the legendary medkit. Out with a Bang no longer grants an extra life, so nerf to that card. Not a significant nerf, but a nerf nonetheless. Reload Drills now also grants 25% swap speed. Kind of cool. I like that a lot. Reload speed is something that's sort of worth running, depending on what weapon and gun you're going to run. This is nice. And so, in fact, this is actually quite nice for LMGs. And so, if you're going to be running pure LMG, like 100%, I'm running an LMG deck, fill them full of lead, suppressing fire. One card that I've always recommended is Cold Brew Coffee, because we love ADS speed, we love reload speed, we love swap speed. Those are all really good stats to have for the LMGs, because the LMGs sort of lack in the department for all of those things. So if you're running an LMG deck, I think Reload Drills is now a card that you definitely look at, because the swap speed is really, really nice as far as like getting from your secondary to your primary, from your LMG to a grenade, and then back to your LMG again, things like that. Kind of cool. Second Chance now also gives 25% bleed out resistance. That's kind of nice. Second Chance is the bonus life and bonus health. Shoulder Bag no longer reduces movement speed. Shoulder Bag is the double support slot card. The nice little buff to that card. I didn't know this before. Stealthy Passage now works on police SUVs, bear traps, and cultist traps. Technically a buff, but I think more of like an oversight that they're fixing, right? Utility Belt no longer reduces movement speed. Again, they're getting away from the movement speed nerfs, which is nice, but Pretty minimal buffs for the most part, because even with the minus 5% movement speed, you didn't really feel it. You didn't really feel it too much. Hunger. Damage hit marker is no longer directional. I assume this is with Ravenous? But they have it... Like, what is Hunger? I've never seen the corruption card Hunger. Have you? Because I thought they were talking about Ravenous here, but they have it itemized out separately. Unless Hunger is the debuff that you get for the Ravenous corruption card, but they have it under corruption card updates. Like, this is backwards. Like, Ravenous should be above, but anyways. Players can no longer continue to eat food when full. This is a huge, huge, huge nerf to Ravenous. Now, in solo play, Ravenous is a great boon. We love Ravenous in solo play. Solo, no hope, Ravenous, yes please, we'll take it every time. Get all kinds of crazy buffs, recover all of our trauma, plenty of food everywhere, we're the only person available to eat it. Yes. In team play, where random players, Ravenous can be a pain in the butt to deal with because you had people just gobbling up all the full food. We didn't need it. Whoever took the lead would be healthy, everyone else would be starving to death. This is a really nice change, quality of life change, for the quick play scene, for playing with random people, because now they literally can't grief you on accident, and they can't grief you on purpose now. Food now has outlines while this card is active. That's nice. Stacks now are cleared when incapacitated. I don't know if... it just says stacks. So I'm assuming both good and bad, right? Like the hunger stacks disappear, but also like your well-fed stacks also disappear. I'm assuming when you get downed. We'll have to see. We are closely watching all cards and will continue to adjust as necessary in order to make the game feel more balanced. Balance updates. What have we been talking about? What are these changes called? General card updates. But here are the balance updates. Okay. Ammo for all. Oh, bleed damage is now a percentage of players' health. This, I think in quick play, when you're playing with random people, your overall health pool tends to be lower. Because I don't think a lot of people are running a bunch of extra health cards. And in team settings, or with random people aren't running all the bonus team health cards. So this might be a buff. This might end up doing less damage overall. I don't know. But I do think in solo play, when you have 3 bots on your team who are giving you like an extra, whatever, 30 points of health or whatever it is, this might be an issue. The bleed damage might be stronger in solo play because you tend to have more health over the course of a run in solo play. Ammo for all now gives an additional, or gives 3.5 bonus team damage instead of 2.5. Barbed wire damage reduced. You'd stop using barbed wire. Stop using barbed wire. You don't need it. It's expensive. They're nerfing it good. I wish it would be 0.5 damage a second. I wish barbed wire did 0 damage. I wish barbed wire would set the players on fire. Anyways, blood donor. What the hell is blood donor? Duration decreased to 10 from 15. Heal increased to 1.5 from 1. What the hell is blood donor? What is this card? Blood donor? This must be like an old... Like this is still locked. A blood donor? What is blood donor? What buff or debuff is blood donor? Is it poultice? Right, is it poultice? Does poultice give the... No, it's still 20 over 30. Like, I don't... Does anyone know? Can someone in the comments please tell me what blood donor is? I've never seen this word in my life. But it's been... duration decreased to 10 from 15. Heal increased from 1.5 to 1. So doesn't this technically do the same thing but faster? Right? Does the same thing but faster? I don't know what blood donor is. Bodyguard. Trigger cooldown increased to 5 from 3. So nerf to bodyguard. That was like if teammates take damage, you take the damage instead, or you reduce its damage and you suffer it instead. Anyways, that card's getting nerfed. And I don't know. I mean, I love the idea of bodyguard. I don't ever play in a coordinated team to where, like, people are funneling extra health into me for bodyguard to make sense. I'm not going to take a hit for random players, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. Just in general, I've never used this card. I've never seen anyone use it or talk about it. But I think in a general sense, seeing this card get nerfed makes me sad, because I think you want to encourage people to do these weird decks. You want people to see this card and go, hey, I can be the tank. Let's do it. I think the nerf is unnecessary. It might be super broken, powerful, like in the dev team setting, right? When the devs are playing and coordinating with each other, but I think the heart and soul of this game is quick play. I think the vast majority of people play quick play. So like a nerf like this is pretty irrelevant for quick play. Canned goods increased to 45 HP from 40, and stamina reduced to 25 from dirty 30. The dirty 30. A nice little buff for canned goods. Nice little buff indeed. Extra health. Less stamina reduction. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. I like it. Combat training. Bullet stumble increased to 1.5 from 1. Stumble increased to 7.5 from 5. I don't know what stumble. I thought it was like bullet stumble. Yeah. Oh, melee stumble was increased to 7.5. So melee, the word melee is missing here in the patch notes, but a buff to the stumble chance of combat training. I like that a lot. There were some edge case circumstances where combat training provided more stumble than the other damage cards, but for the most part, the more damage your weapon did, especially at like the blue and purple levels, then combat training stumble value became irrelevant. But this can help keep it on par, that if you want a weapon to stumble better, you're going to be looking at combat training a little bit more, or including combat training in conjunction with like silver bullets or a glass cannon. Crippling frequency. So this is the second time this card is being mentioned here. Damage reduction reduced to 1 from 2. The radius has also been reduced. This is the card where if you ran like the super damage resistance high deck, I demonstrated it in the video where we went over all of the gadgets, one by one, where you can potentially get into a god mode state with this card. I'm not going to run the numbers, but this makes it harder to do, or impossible now. Durable. Now grants 20% fire resistance. Health gain increased to 10 from 5. This durable is the trauma resistance card. A nice little buff overall. Same amount of trauma resistance, but now fire resistance. That's kind of cool. Experimental stimulants. This is the you push the button, you do more damage, and you reload faster. Gadget nerfs incoming. Cooldown increased to 35 seconds from 25. This shares the same slot as T5, so T5 will probably also have the same nerf. Activation cost increased to 30 from 20. That's AR ammo, so it costs more ammo to use. The duration has been reduced to 7 seconds. The damage, though, has been increased to 20 from 15, and the reload speed has been increased to 30 from 25. So this is sort of making it like pick your moment. Pick your moment. You can't just spam this. You can't just use it whenever you want. Pick your moment. I kind of like that. So I kind of like that idea. More damage, more reload speed, less time, though, more ammo. You got to be more precise. You can't just spam it now. Well, you can probably still spam it pretty good, right? But more downtime simply means that there's more opportunities where if you're spamming it, you might end up in a situation where you're going, man, I wish I had it now, as opposed to back then when I shot the zombies. Because now I need a tall boy dead, right? So I like the idea. Very cool. Ammo increased to 30 from 20. Again, for experimental stun gun, that's where you punch and shoot lightning. Expired T5. Initial damage increased to 20 from 8. Damage per second reduced to 1 from 6. Duration reduced to 7 seconds. Just like experimental stims. The ammo cost increased to 75 from 50. Cooldown increased to 35 seconds. So, damage-wise, as far as I can tell, Expired T5 is still going to shred zombies, no problem. No problem. This damage might be rather significant when dealing with a mutation, because you want the damage over the longer time, and or damage over time, damage per second. But I think for the most part, I'm a big fan of just like, if you get a square peg, you put it in the square hole, and you call it a day. That's my thinking here, right? So if you get a melee weapons are really good at just killing zombies. So instead of investing 10 cards so we can take our melee weapon and stab a breaker with it, or stab a tall boy with it, let's just take the square peg and put it where it already goes, right? Expired T5, super great tool for dealing with hordes of zombies. We can invest into it to deal with mutations, but honestly, it's too many cards. Let's just let T5 do its thing, like, naturally. Like, T5 is really good at dealing with hordes of zombies. And as far as this damage change goes, it's still going to do that. It's exactly the same. In fact, it might even be better. It might even be better on the initial push of the button here. Or this initial damage, because first of all, I didn't even know it did initial damage. But if we have Pyro, which we typically always run with T5, didn't do 40 points of damage, that's going to drop literally all of the zombies sort of at once. Now, over the course of a Horde event, we're only going to be doing 2 damage a second now to a horde of zombies. So this is actually going to be a significant nerf to be able to, like, take space or move or run away from zombies while this card is active. Because 2 times 7 is 14. It's not enough. Not enough. So initially, again, or like, this is all about pick your moment, right? So pick your moment. This is actually a really interesting buff in that, like, again, it encourages the idea that you really need to pick your moment, because the damage over time is not going to eliminate zombies like it was before. But if for the zombies that are showing up initially when you push the button, it's exactly the same. So really, really cool. I think, yeah, the more that I think about this is actually rather a significant nerf to T5 as far as, like, being able to, like, push the button and run away. This is no longer the get out of jail free card that it was before. Other than the initial explosion that is going to shred all the zombies. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot, because T5 and Pyro is like the strongest combination of the game, or at least it was. So rather significant, I think, overall. Very, very cool. Food Scavenger. Extra spawns reduced to 7 from 10. 1. I don't think we've ever gotten a number for how much stuff is spawned in when we run some of the scavenger cards. A little peek behind the curtain here. First of all, I didn't ever feel like it spawned 10 extra things on some of the maps, but now it's being nerfed a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. But I do love Food Scavenger. I thought it was a very fun card to run. Very interesting card in general. Slight nerf to it, but of course you got HENG as well to fall back on. Heavy Attack. Stamina drain reduced by 70% for all weapons. Heavy Attack is like the hold down your melee button and you, like, swing up attack and then do a mega charge or mega slash with it. Back and side movement specialized. Speed equalized to forward speed with all weapons. Seems fine. Hydration Pack. Increased HP to 35 from 25. And Hydration Pack is the minus 15% total ammo. A nice little buff to Hydration Pack. Ignore the Pain. Health recovery increased to 2 from 1. Again, this is the second mention of this card type, or this card specifically. But this is like the you stab mutations. You get health and trauma back in return. Life Insurance. Life increased to 2 from 1. Buff there. Team in-cap trauma resistance reduced to 10% from 15%. Personally, it just feels like if you're getting downed, you're taking a buttload of trauma. And the team trauma reduced in-cap stuff, like, feels like a drop in the bucket. Feels like a drop in the bucket. So, nerf and buff, I don't know. Weird. Though I will say, I think honestly, like, the extra 2 lives might be more valuable than the trauma resistance overall. A medical professional. Heal and trauma heal reduced to 10 from 15. So granted, I didn't know that this card healed anything. Did anyone know that this card provided extra healing? It doesn't say that in the tooltip. Right? Like it doesn't say that in the tooltip. Defibrillators and first aid heal 10 additional trauma damage. Heal 10 additional trauma damage. To me, that doesn't say anything about actually healing health. If that's the case, that's cool. And if that is the case, are they talking about the heal? Because earlier they talked about how medical professional will now be affected by healing efficiency. Are they talking about the invisible heal that was happening behind the scenes? Or are they talking about the trauma heal? I don't know. We'll have to test it. We'll definitely have to test it now. Offensive Scavenger. Spawn count increased to 5 from 4. I had no idea that the extra throwable spawned by Offensive Scavenger was so low. Honestly, it felt like more. A bonus 4. Well, regardless, we'll take it. But a little buff? Heck yeah. Love the buff. Offensive Scavenger is one of the best scavenger cards, or was the best scavenger card, and it still is the best scavenger card, and it just got buffed. Heck yeah. Second Chance increased to 15 HP from 5. Second Chance is the card that gives you bonus life, the +1 life, and then now 15 HP. That's quite nice. Surplus Pouches. Health trade-off reduced to 5 from 10%. Are they talking about all of the bonus pouches? Surplus is the grenade 5. Oh no, look at that. Box of bags is still minus 10%. But the offensive slot upgrade, which is more important anyways, just got a buff. That's quite nice. I like that a lot. Ultrasonic wound therapy, ammo, increased ammo cost to 60. Reduced tick rate to 1.135 from 1. So instead of healing every second, it heals every 1.135 seconds. Reduced the radius. Are you telling me that they just nerfed one of the worst cards in the game? They're buffing some of the best cards in the game, and they're nerfing some of the worst. Like, this is like the worst card in the game. Like, sacrificing your offensive slot, heal whatever 6 points of health. It's not even remotely close to being worth it. Not even remotely close to worth it. And in our RNG deck challenge run, when we had this card in Act 1, every single instance where this card potentially came in clutch, that damage that we healed with this card, with our infinite ammo from the bots, could have been circumvented or prevented if we just had the ability to throw anything, right? Like, this is not a good card. This is a horrible card. And unless Turtle Rock knows that coming down the pipeline are some cards that are going to make ultrasonic wound therapy crazy strong and a viable choice for supports, they just made one of the worst cards in the game even more worse. That's all I had to say about that. Vitamins increased health 25 to HP, so they pretty much buffed all of the flat HP cards for the most part, right? Frag grenades and pipe bombs will now trigger cultist traps. I don't know if that means like trigger as in like destroy them, or trigger as in like calls in a horde event. I don't know. Combat knife now hits multiple targets. So combat knife sucked, but people were always using it, and I was like, don't use it. The punching is great. Even if combat knife is just as good as punching, why are we going to spend a card slot on replacing something with something else that's just as good? Right? Unless you're now forced to have to run extra cards that support melee kills. And again, we're just going down a rabbit hole of just like burning cards into something that I don't think is that particularly amazing. They buffed combat knife. They made it like spread really wide. And it was pretty decent for the most part, but again, I just didn't like it. Then they nerfed combat knife. significantly reducing its area of effect to the point that you can really only stab one zombie at a time. I remember talking about it saying, combat knife was bad. I've always not liked it. It's a crutch. Get away from it. Save that card slot. Run anything else in that card slot. And when they nerfed it to the single target effect, I was like, okay, this is actually bad now. Like, this is actually worse. Picking this card is actually bad for you. And they've buffed it again because it was just nonsense. It was nonsense. In fact, it made T5 harder. It made maps like T5 harder because being forced to use the knife when you're carrying the crates made it harder to maneuver around the house than if we just had our fist. So, still, a buff to combat knife. I still recommend don't use this. Just don't use this. If you're running a melee deck, just have a melee weapon in your secondary. But what if I want to hold my rifle and then also stab something? Punch something that's close to you, stumble it, and while it's stumbling, you can swap to your melee weapon. Bam, you did it. You don't need combat knife. Okay, we're moving on. I can't stand combat knife. Embezzler. This weapon now uses heavy ammo, which is the sniper rifle ammo, I assume. I thought they just said sniper rifle ammo. Maybe it's the AR. No, it already used AR ammo. This must be the sniper rifle ammo. Copper gained on common killed increased to 5 from 3. Copper gained on mutations from 10 to 25. Max copper per level increased to 1250. So I think they're trying to say, like, you know, it's sniper ammo. You have less of it. So in theory, you're going to need more ammo more often. But you get rewarded for more of it. So if you can manage to get more sniper rifle ammo, you will be rewarded for it. But you'll need that extra ammo. Because before running the embezzler with AR ammo, it was like you never ran out. You never ran out. So I would say overall, this is a nerf to the embezzler. You got to do a little more dancing, a little more hoops, to jump through in order for you to sort of make up for it. But in solo play where we have infinite ammo, this is not going to be an issue. Spawn rates for the bow have been increased and now can spawn in crates. And personally, I don't think the bow is that good. Which says to me, weapon crates have been nerfed. Weapon crates have been nerfed because now bow and arrows can spawn inside of them. Cool. The bow will now fire slower and deal reduced damage when players don't have enough stamina to fire it. And then they nerfed the bow. They nerfed the bow and then they put them in crates with nerfs crates. How funny. I don't like the bow. I thought maybe if like reload speed meant that you can shoot faster, but I haven't experienced that. Been meaning to test it, but I keep forgetting. Let me know in the comments if you know. But for the most part, as far as I can tell, there's nothing special going on with the bow right now. Maybe in the future, but overall, all I see, the bow gets nerfed. And now that it's included in crates, the crates have also been nerfed. Sort of like by circumstance, you know? By chain of events. Iron Claws. Claw attacks will no longer miss inanimate objects with increased attack speed. Who's stabbing inanimate objects? Who's missing inanimate objects? You mean like doors? Is that what it's talking about? The only inanimate object you ever want to shoot at? I guess that's nice that I won't miss a door anymore, but sort of a, I don't know, silly thing. What are you trying to stab a propane tank? Anyways, we're moving on. Tenderizer. The Tenderizer's AoE now damages sleepers. That's nice. The Tenderizer now causes cars to explode. That can be bad or good, depending on how close you are to the car. Tenderizer's AoE explosion will now trigger cultist traps. I assume it will cause a horde event. I don't know exactly. The Tenderizer's AoE explosion will now damage doors. I would say, other than the sleeper thing, like none of this really matters so much. Just so you guys know, when we tested it and we talked about it in our legendary weapon review video series, the AoE explosion effect from the Tenderizer does not trigger melee cards. Does not trigger, what is it? Battle Lust doesn't trigger Face Your Fears, things like that. as far as I can tell, extra swing speed for melee attacks doesn't affect the tenderizer's reload speed for like the strapping on the new set of explosives. All of the melee cards that you want for a melee weapon don't work with the tenderizer the last time I checked. But ironically, like, the changes are fine or whatever. But for the most part, if you're running a melee weapon, don't choose the tenderizer because it doesn't synergize with any of them. It's almost like if you're going to run the tenderizer, you're not running any melee cards because having them or not doesn't make a difference. So, spawning updates. Light Guide Us. Increase the minimum time between hordes by 5 seconds. By 10 seconds, by 10, by... Increase minimum time between hordes by 5. I don't know what this means. For Light Guide Us specifically. Now, I know that Light Guide Us, the very first mission of Act 5, will have a automatic horde timer event after you lower down the boat and you get the objective to go around and find the boat parts. I'm assuming it's talking about that horde timer specifically, but it's increased minimum time between hordes by 5 seconds. I don't entirely understand what this means or what it's changing. Are they talking about the Phantom Hordes? The Phantom Horde events? I don't know. We'll have to play and figure this out. In the depths. But something's going on with the Horde events. They've been changed. The density of Wandering Ridden has been reduced. That's quite nice. Wandering Ridden are the zombies that are naturally populating the map. So in theory, this might mean that pushing the cart forward on this map in the depths might be a little bit easier. Bot updates. Bot will now use the skins that the player last used for that cleaner. That's cool. Bots can now pick up duffel bags in response to players pinging it. That's kind of neat. Now, this mostly affects solo play. That's a really cool concept. That's some advanced bot technology. Maybe one day they'll be able to use their stun guns when they're getting pinned or using their toolkits. But this is fun. This is a fun change. They're going to affect our solo runs significantly. There is now an audio cue when hordes are triggered via the game director. Wasn't there already? Now, I know that with Act 5 that there was an issue with these Phantom Horde things, but there was literally zero indicator. But I don't know what it means for a Horde event being triggered by the game director. Is that the Phantom Hordes? Is that what they introduced in Act 5? I know most of the Horde events can only be triggered if you, like, shoot an alarm door, or shoot birds, or stumble on a trap, a duster trap, or whatever, right? So is that what they're talking about? Is that the Phantom Horde events were being triggered by the game director, which is like how it worked in Left 4 Dead? Because that wasn't a thing before. And having the audio cue is actually really, really nice. And hopefully that means Amped Up will trigger properly when these game director Horde events are happening. The Ogre now plays a roar animation as it triggers a horde. Cool. No hope. Snitches can no longer be stumbled. Oh, snap. That's big. That's a big change. That is huge. Snitches can no longer be stumbled. It's all about DPS, pure DPS. Good thing we're always running the AA-12. Not an issue for us. Light Guide Us. Various written pathing improvements made. Got it. Cultist updates. Made multiple performance improvements to the cultists. Slasher can now be stunned during their leap attack. That's nice because once they began their like crouching down, hidden tiger leaping animation, they became immune to all stumble. Stumble damage increased to 150. I assume they mean health. Stumble health increased to 150. Because I've never seen a player be stumbled by something before, right? I'm assuming that this is stumble health for the slasher, in which case it got buffed. Harder to stumble the slasher now. That's what I'm getting from this. Armor piece health reduced to 350 from 500. Health increased to 725. Stumble decay increased to 30 seconds from 15 seconds. So I guess their build-up, if you're shooting at a slasher, you're building up stumble damage. I guess that build-up is more relevant now because it lasts longer? I don't know. 30 seconds, 15 seconds feels like a long time in general. Sniper health increased to 75. Added weak spots to the cultist snipers. I mean, the cultist snipers are just, you pop them a couple of times. It wasn't an issue, right? Snipers are the ones that are like in the windows, in the fixed locations. So, not a big deal. Prone health increased to 150. Stumble HP increased to 30 from 1. Oh my goodness. I know that they were easy to stumble, but 1 HP? So this one, it means that you're going to have to put a little bit more bullets into them before they stumble. They now shoot faster. Arrow damage lowered to 5 from 7. They definitely don't do 7 damage. At least not in no hope mode. But a nice little buff to the crone. They're going to be shooting more often and harder to stumble. Swarm PvP updates. Does anyone play? Is anyone playing this game mode? Please let me know. Rare legendary attachments can no longer spawn on weapons. Stumble attachments have been removed. Playable bloaters and chasers now play appropriate animations when stuck in bear traps. Bloaters and chasers? What the hell are these? What are these what's blood donor? What's bloaters and chasers? That's a game that you play at the bar, I think, right? That's like the adult version of Chutes and Ladders. I'm assuming that bloaters are the Reeker variants, and I'm assuming chasers are the Stinger variants. These are like the old school terminology for it. I don't know. Balance updates. Ridden players get 300, 500, and 800 mutation points in rounds 1, 2, and 3 respectively. Disabled mutation point gains from trickle, damage, end cap, and kills. Interesting. Before, it was a very snowbally effect where if you were winning, you got more mutation points because it was based off of damage and stuff like that. So if you were winning, you got more mutation points, which meant that you got to upgrade your stuff more often, which meant that you dealt more damage later on. It was snowbally. Maybe I should make a video about PvP in general, but like I understood the idea. I liked what they tried to do with the Swarm PvP mode, but it fell apart. It lacked content. It lacked substance. And it's been imbalanced since literally it's been released. I think you can still do the tall boy spam jump and like traverse half the map with a tall boy. Like the movement, like it was all broken. All of it didn't work. The fact that they removed this, I think, is actually really, really cool. It means that both teams will have a fixed amount of resources now to spend on a composition for their mutations. As opposed to it just like the team that's better gets more points. Sort of deal, you know? So that's actually a really nice change for the balance of Swarm mode. Too little too late, I think. Except the Duffel bags can now have colorblind support. That's nice. Sniper lasers now have colorblind support. That's cool. Stuff like that. UI fixes, blah, blah, blah. There'll be a link in the description to this video in general. Let's see here. I think there's one of them. Fixed an issue where multiple weapons didn't work with this card, Fill 'em Full of Lead. I'm still meaning to make a Fill 'em Full of Lead video because it's really interesting. What weapons sort of like can take full advantage of it and not, and what you're really getting for it if you're not even getting the max stacks and things like that. I'll let you guys. I'll post the link and you guys can look through this yourself, and etc. But again, just a gazillion fixes and gazillion bug fixes, bots. Fixed an issue where Dan's ability wouldn't trigger when revived by bots. Things like that. Ooh! Fixed an issue where bots did not benefit from Share the Wealth and Windfall team effects. If this is actually fixed, then when it comes to our solo play, Hazard Pay is gone. And it's now Share the Wealth. That's huge. That's and Copper is king in solo play for the most part. So this is actually a really nice buff to the bots. Just in general. Fixed an issue where the copper from secondary objectives were being removed from the bots after a team wipe. Fixed an issue where the bots would sometimes fail to use toolkits on treasure doors. Fail to? They never even tried to begin with. Okay. Hopefully then bots can open up treasure doors, toolkit rooms. Fixed an issue where bots were able to revive players that were too far away. Let them have that. Let them have that one. I fixed an issue where bots would die in the incinerator. I've never had that happen before. Fixed an issue where where players and bots could be forced into a ledge hang. That's quite nice. Blah, 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 blah. Some nice stuff here. Some nice stuff here. Overall, a rather exciting update. A rather exciting update. Let's take a peek around here. Take a peek around. Spooky pumpkins. Owl hoots off in the distance. Lightning strikes. Festive lights. A cauldron. I love it. I love it. Simple, easy. Now let's check out some of the cards that we have available to buy. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Some stuff. Yeah. Look at all these cosmetics that we don't care about. Well, we care about the weapon skins. We care about the weapon skins and the character skins. Cool. Oh. Very cool. Very, very cool. I will say that initially the character progression in Back 4 Blood I enjoyed, right? Earning the supply points, unlocking the skill tree or the card trees. It was a lot of fun. At this point, it has fallen apart. Give it to me. Give me the cards. Give me the stuff. Oh, is it just the single track? Purchase at your own risk. No refunds. The Haunt. What is this? Oh, this is a title? This is a title. I was like, what is this symbol? Alright, pumpkin face. Trick or treat. Harley. I like it. This is like the Cyberpunk 2044, 2077, whatever that game is. Carly, Cyberpunk Carly costume. We'll do some pack opening, right? People still do like Magic the Gathering pack opening videos. I assume so, right? I assume they still do that stuff. Very, very cool. Let's look at HENG also. So HENG, it confirmed, HENG no longer drops loot when he takes damage. He is purely based around food, plus food spawns. Recovers trauma when consuming food. Extra health and stamina for each food consumed. The fact that HENG it can maybe potentially exclusively recover trauma with food. Potentially a very interesting setup for HENG here. Potentially making HENG a very durable character over the course of a mission. Very neat. Very, very cool. Spiked Punch. Serial Killer. Right, love it. I guess it might be faster just to look in here. Winter Soldier. And then use Adventure Zone. Some new skins here for all the guns. More colored camo stuff. The toy skin for all the guns. Very cool. Very cool. Melee weapons here. More Adventure Zone. A lot of Adventure Zone. I don't got Hot Rod yet. I don't got Hot Rod. I don't have Hot Rod. Okay. Dead of Night. Camo. This is not really a Halloween skin. They're going to call it Dead of Night because it's the Halloween event, but it's just a Dark Forest camo skin. What is that crap? What is that cop out? Where's the Halloween skins? A bunch of camo skins. I'm a little disappointed. Dead of Night is... I mean, it's just Pumpkin Eater. A little disappointing that they're gonna like try and pretend like Dead of Night is a Halloween skin, but it's literally just a dark camo skin. Yeah, that's it. Ridden season. It's again, it's just a camo, just a general camo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's literally it. Okay. Okay, let's look at the characters. We got the Evangelo skin. Did Walker get a? We have all the skins for him except for Battle Hardened, so he didn't get a Halloween skin. Ollie didn't get a Halloween skin. Mom didn't get a Halloween skin. Doc didn't get a Halloween skin. Right, like Jim didn't get a Halloween skin, or Jim and Hoffman didn't get a Halloween skin. Is that what I'm seeing here? Carly and Evangelo got Halloween skins, it looks like. What are we missing on Charisse? Okay. How about Dan? Did Dan get some juicy stuff? Gutty boy. No, is that it for the cleaner Halloween skins? We're at, it said 0 of 2. Oh, that was the individual cards, right? Is that it? Oh, they added the unlock all button. Yay, they unlock all button. It's hotkeyed as well. Very nice, very nice. Oh man, we're at an hour plus. I'm getting tired. Wait, did we see Pumpkin Eater in the assault rifles? Wait, what? Okay, okay, there might be more weapon skins here. There might be more weapon skins here than we have been led to believe, because the Pumpkin Eater skin is not even previewable. It's not even previewable. That might be the same then for the cleaner skins, right? Okay, okay, okay. Maybe my disappointment will be circumvented here. If only a little bit. Okay. So, I'm guessing all of the guns have this skin. Definitely feels like a bug. Feels like a bug that we can't preview the actual skins for the Halloween event. You just have to unlock them. Actually, we might be out of skins. Too spoopy for me. Nice. Okay, never mind. One skid at a time, they say. Okay, I think that's enough. So definitely feels like a bug that you can't preview the Halloween event skins in the armory or the cleaner section. But I'm guessing then there's probably more cosmetics than we were led to believe initially. Which is good, because otherwise I was going to say, how disappointing. How disappointing. Pumpkin Eater for all of them. Got it. Well, that's it for this video. We covered a lot. We talked a lot. I'm going to do my best to timestamp this crap out. For the most part, though, a crap ton of card updates. Very, very cool. Very excited for No Hope Quick Play. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the future.